shake off the rust on this one. It's been a minute since I did like a live intro, man.
Heck yeah, man. You got
Here
this
we
shit.
go. Yeah, here we go. Welcome back to Clubhouse Chronicles, the place where the Illinois music scene gets loud, proud, and unfiltered. I'm Twitt, your host with the most, ready to spin you the stories, the sounds, and the struggles behind the bands that are making waves right here in your backyard. This show is powered by our friends over at Broken Record Music Club, your favorite independent record label, bringing you music for whatever you are going through. With that, let's buckle on up because this isn't just a podcast. It's your front row ticket to the heart of the indie music scene. We're breaking away. It's been a minute since we did an interview, but we're here.
Yeah.
And we're here with Grey is here, hot off the release of his album WOLFSBANE. And we're going to get into everything about this album, about his artist journey. But welcome to the Clubhouse, Grey. What's going on,
Dude,
man?
thank you for having me, man. It's great to be here. We've been literally talking about doing this interview for like months of just like, and it's just been schedule, timing, everything. So I'm grateful to be here, man. Like you guys, Broken Record showed me love since like early, even before this era. Is just so special to me. So it's an honor to be on here and finally get to talk to you and be on the platform. So I appreciate you, man. Thank you for having me.
Dude. I'm excited to talk about that little past era too. So
Yeah, for sure.
For those of you that do not know, Grey is here used to be known as KX on platforms, and he had a whole giant catalog. And recently he switched the artist name to Grey is here, and that's kind of where I want to start. Like, what was the purpose behind the name change? Like, what did the old name stand for, like KX, and then how has it shifted now with this title change?
Yeah, so I mean, I could go real in depth, but to kind of like make a long story short, Kid XXIV represents so many different meanings, and I've had this name since 2017, 2018 when I first started making music, and I kind of was starting to make stuff and like really inspired by a lot of artists around me who had more obscure and like interesting names than just like my legal government name, so I'm like,
Yeah.
what do I got to come up with that's going to be interesting and meaningful? And XXIV was just kind of like inspired by like the likes of like XXX Tentacion or Star-Lord with the X instead of the A or something like that. Like there's so many, or the O. My bad, I haven't listened to Scar in a minute, but these guys are like, on SoundCloud popping off. And when I first started getting into rap, like that was kind of like those artists that were like, okay, this is the genre, this is the niche I kind of want to get into. So that kind of like inspired the structure of the name. I don't know if I've really said that in an interview before, but the name itself, though, like the actual meaning behind it is, or one of the meanings I should say, is that like it represents kind of like an escape, an outlet. I used to LARP as a kid, and so I had a character. Yeah, I had a character named K.
Dope.
Yeah, I had a character named K because there was somebody in my life who was super important to me, and their name started with a K. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have K, and like kind of that I don't know, for whatever reason that just kind of stuck. And it was actually this character that like could use like force fields and like kind of push shit away. And I think that when I was a kid, there were times where like I'd use that whenever I'd have like a really bad thought. This is exclusively, I've never gone this in depth before. So
Good.
this
Let's
actually
get
happened to
into
me.
it.
Yeah, thank you. There was times where like as a kid, I'd kind of like, when I was bored, I'd use this character just kind of, cause like when I need to kind of like make life a little bit more fantastical, like as a kid, I'd be like, okay, I'm this character now. And whenever I'd have like these bad thoughts, I'd use the force fields to like push it away. Like I'd physically go like this, or I'd try to like move my hand, or if I was sitting at like my desk in school, I'd like move my hand just to like, it was, I don't know, it was just a way for me to kind of, before the music, kind of be like, like get that out of my head. And it was weird because like LARPing also allowed me to creatively come up with stories and stuff with my friends, and we go out into the woods and do a bunch of stuff. So like music is kind of like, it's me. I'm not playing a character, but I am allowing myself to have an outlet, to have like a creative way to express myself and escape. and I want people who listen to my music get an escape while also confronting what they need to confront. So that yeah, that name just kind of like in general, like on the surface level, is kind of like that's what that represents, is just an outlet and escape. And then Gray is here just kind of was a slogan that I used for a long time because I have lore within my music. And there's this album that I had out called Gray Volume One, Gray is Here, and that has since got deleted. There, I think there's maybe like one or two songs still available on SoundCloud, but yeah, like that. I had like this character named Gray, and I'd always just say Gray's here at the end of like every music video I edited, and like I just kind of had people like slowly catching on to it. And so when I was realized like hence the name change, Mike DFG was chilling on this interview with us. He would say to himself is that I went to Lala to perform with Mike on his set, and you know, I'm meeting all these cool people. I mean, like my heroes and shit. I met like Kevin Abstract, Jasper Dolphin, like everybody that I'm like, yo, this is fucking sick. I did not meet Tyler though, and I think that maybe it was meant to happen because I would have dropped down on my knees and cried. Like I would have been like, dude, I love you. But nah, he like seeing all these guys, I'm like, man, like this is dope. But every time I say my name, I was talking to Matt Champion's mom one time, and this was really cool. And she's like, sweetest lady. And she's like, oh, what's your name? So I can tell Matt about it. And I'm like, oh, it's K.XXIV. And she looked at me and I'm like she was being really nice about it. Cause like, she wasn't like, oh, that's a weird name. But she was like, oh, like, okay, like K.XXIV. And then like she's saying it a couple of times, I'm like, I love you so much, but you will probably not remember this. And that is completely okay. This is not about me. But that's where I'm like, oh shit. Like, if I need people to recognize my artistry, to recognize me and like hold me in their mind, I need to come up with something maybe more catchy. And I've been thinking about changing my name for a minute. So I got really lucky with just like the name change trailer and everything, kind of like executing that with distributors and stores and all that stuff. And the change kind of bled into WOLFSBANE being this new official reintroduction to myself. Because I try to do that with every album where it's just like a journal check-in, and Gray's here just kind of like, bam. I was like, this is what I needed to be. I've used the slogan a bunch. People have called me Gray, thinking that that's also my name. So it's like, hey, like that's perfect. So yeah, that's kind of how the name just kind of came to be. Is like I wanted someone to still feel as homey and as nostalgic, I guess, as K.XXIV without like losing that. I didn't want to be called something that I'd kind of feel like almost like disconnected from, like it was too new or it was too out there, that didn't feel like it connected in the world that I've already built. So
it's definitely a really interesting world that you have built with your music. There's a lot of anime references, and the subject matter is really personal and deep. Like you kind of mentioned, journal entries, and that's some stuff that we'll get to later. But still staying kind of like at the beginning, like what artists inspire you? You said that comment about Tyler the Creator, and personally, what got me interested in you was your song Arlong Park. And that has a Mac Miller sample that I recognized like immediately. And I was like, this guy.
Peace, man.
Yeah, R.I.P. But who else has influenced you in, especially on this project, and even as an artist as a whole? Like who have you looked to kind of like form who Gray is Here is?
Yeah, I think really it kind of just started with, like, I got into rap music pretty late. I feel like it was more like eighth grade going into freshman year, where I kind of was like around some people. I was going on a school trip, and I was staying with like in a hotel with a bunch of like my friends from we all played like basketball together and shit. And like I remember like being on the bus with them, and we're chilling, and I'm like kind of still my emo phase, so I'm still listening to like 21 Pilots every day, all day, Pierce the Veil, Sleeping with Sirens, All Time Low, all them. And I'm like, they're talking about Uzi and like 21 Savage, Quavo, and I'm like, okay, like, you know what, I'm gonna be basically staying with these guys for like a weekend or a week or however long the trip was. Might as well get acquainted with what they're into. and kind of from that, like, not peer pressure. I like to call it peer pressure because I think it's funny, but like kind of like just this idea of like, oh, let me kind of understand like a different niche that I'm not really into. Because I kind of had, I don't know, I only heard like rap through like whether it's like Eminem from my mom or just like some like subtle shit, radio shit, but like nothing crazy. And I remember I listened to Uzi, XO Tour Life. It came out that Friday or something, and I was like, bro, this dude is like rapping about like it was like a more emo, more like kind of sad song, and I was like, I fuck with this. Like this is heavy, and like from Uzi, I literally like got into X right after that because he was like a featured. He was on like the fans also like section, and bro, I listened to "Looking for a Star" by X, and I'm like, this is the shit that I fuck with because again, I kind of had that weird mindset of like, oh, rap is only about like this flex culture, like partying and all this shit, and like these artists showed me like, damn, like it's really more than that because I had friends who were like grown up with Pac and Biggie. I didn't really like have that. So, the mainstream shit kind of like got me a little jaded on like checking out other genres. And then I found that I'm like, damn. So X is a huge, he was like the guy, like when I came back from that trip, I was looking up like type beats and stuff because I didn't know how to produce. And I remember like my I had like a couple of friends, like respectively, that we each tried to like start like a two-man band and it just did not work. And I'm like, I'm just gonna fuck it, I'm just gonna do it myself. And I got on beats and we were like recording on shit like the same homies I was trying to make a band with, and we just started like freestyling on beats. I got into Brockhampton around that time. Brockhampton's a huge inspo, like especially with the visuals and shit. But to not like out too many inspirations because I also don't like it when like people are like, oh, I see the like I like when people are like, oh, I hear the influence, but I never want people to think like, oh, like I kind of want people to get the subtle references, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like you definitely hear the Suicide Boys tones in there for sure. And SB is like they taught me how to produce just from listening to them. I have two homies who will listen to them religiously. And I remember there were so many times that we would get fucked up in high school on the weekends and then go drive out to like Denny's or something at like 10 in the morning. And I'd be groggy as fucking just hear that bass in my homie's car because he got subs in his trunk. And I'm listening to these beats. I'm like, fuck, I want to do something like that. Cause what kind of shifted my sound was like, okay, I fuck with this heavy, but I also want shit that my friends and I can like kind of bull around to, you know what I mean? Like we can drive around and just bump it. And that's kind of what got the distortion and the crazy shit. So Suicide Boys, X, Brockhampton, Tyler is more of like, I'm inspired by Tyler due to his work ethic and his lack of limitation that he puts on himself. To me, that is the most inspiring thing from him. I love his music. I listen to every fucking record, but it's the personality that he has is something that has inspired me as an artist just in the general sense. So those are probably like my big four or five, whatever. But I also love like May Simones is one of my favorite artists right now. She's from New York. Um she does like jazz and like math rock almost like combined is so sick. And like there's so many artists that like you would be like, bro, listens to these guys but makes this kind of music. But I love like jazz and hyper pop and alternative rock and shoegaze. I've been getting into like the last track on WOLFSBANE that was highly inspired by. I've been listening to like a lot of Wisp. I don't know if you know Wisp, but like, bro, I'll be at the gym listening to Wisp. I'm like, fuck yeah, like I love this shit. So yeah, I'm into everything, man. Like I'm inspired by so many people. I'm inspired by you. I'm inspired by like all my homies, bro. Because it's like as a producer, you also have to allow yourself to be a consumer. And I love fanning out over my friends. Like right now, shout out Eddie Yuma and Isaiah Vo. They're both two of my closest homies out here, or some of the two of the closest homies I have out here. And literally, bro, they have the craziest shit coming up. And listening to their stuff not only just like inspires me to want to like better myself as an artist, but like when I listen to them make music, I'm like, shit, I need to get back home and get on the mic and start working on shit. Like, and that to me is true inspiration is just like when you listen to somebody or hear somebody talking, like, fuck, I need to get back home and get on my shit. Like, you don't need a motivational speech to do that. Like, if you hear something and you're inspired by it, like, I have that shit happen to me all the time. Like Mike DFG, same kind of thing. I like watch him perform and be like, damn, let me get on the mic, let me get on that stage, let me do this shit. So it's like, you know, these are my homies, these are my equals, these are my people, these are my family. And it's so beautiful to have that reaction of like, I also look up to you creatively and personality wise. Like, I learned so much from so many people. I'm like a sponge. I love to just like soak all that shit in and be like, bro, please. Like, I love to get that shit that like is an outside point of view. Cause what I also love is when people send me tracks and I'll be like, oh, I didn't expect you to slide on that kind of beat. And that also is like a surprise. It's like Christmas every day when you're an artist and you have other homies who are artists, because I get that Untitled link and I'm like, damn, all right, I like this. I like this. Yeah, I'm inspired by everything, man. Legit. Movies, anime, fucking music, all that shit. So
it's nice that you at least like, I don't want people to know directly who all of my influences are just because you don't want them to look for that. It is such a treat, like when you figure it out. Like I said with the Arlong Park, I was like, that was such a treat for me, like to hear that sample flip that way.
yeah,
And you know, it made me a fan. So like I totally get it.
I like it when you find out about like somebody you really fuck with, whether it's online or a celebrity. And it's like, oh, they listen to so and so. Like I remember like Robert Pattinson like talking about a certain band or something. I forgot who it was. It might have been like Death Grips or something like that. And be like, yo, bro knows Death Grips? Like, that's insane. Like, this is fucking Edward from Twilight or Batman. And he's listening to this. And it's like, oh, like, because I want people to pick that up when we all get to a certain point where we're more prolific. It's like, I can't wait for people to be like, oh, he had that Dominic Fike poster in his fucking room. I didn't know bro fucked with Dominic like that. Like, Blush was my favorite album this year, coming out 2025. Like, there's so many things that I cannot wait for like people to talk to me and be like, do you know about this niche? And I'm gonna be like, bro, let me tell you about it. Because I've been following them for years. Like, I cannot wait for those conversations. I love talking about art and music and all that shit. I love showing off my One Piece tattoo as well. When people are like, oh, I'm kind of into this anime, and I'm like, let me show you this tattoo real quick. Yeah.
You mentioned producing, and it's one of the things that I wanted to touch on because the beat selection in WOLFSBANE is so unique, and it stands out. There's a lot of jazz influences, like you were talking about, like Two Glock Shorty's definite like jazz, Sword Out the Stone. Like the beat reminded me of like a Skells producer, the producer Skells, who works with that Mexican OT. Had that kind of vibe. Imposter Syndrome had a great beat. WOLFSBANE, like you talked about. So is that like the route that you like to go, is like a non-traditional beat, or like what's the process for you when you're building those out for yourself?
So when it comes to producing my own beats, it's kind of like, okay, what this song is, so because sometimes I'll write the song before I make the beat. Or sometimes I'll make the beat before I write the song, and I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I'm just producing just to flex that creative muscle. It's more of like, if I listen to this beat on its own and I just made it, how many times can I listen to this before I'm like uncomfortable with it? Because I like to make music where it's like when I hear it, it sounds like I'm going back home. It sounds like when you enter your like parents' house that you grew up with. If you had like I'm very lucky to have like a very supportive and great like childhood, from my opinion, from my perspective. So it's like when I go back home, I'll smell like the candle that my mom's. Hence why I'm a candle guy. You know what I'm saying? Like like I'll smell the candle that my mom's burning, or I'll see the woods outside, and like it feels very just. And like, to me, music is that breath of fresh air. And like when I produce, it's like, okay, what can I make that makes me feel the most comfortable, that makes me feel like this is mine? and this is my safe place. So it's like hence why I produce with a lot of jazz music. I like to, if I remembered to say this all the time, or if people caught on to it, I think more, and I'm gonna just kind of start doing this, I think, is like my genre that I like to call my beats or my music, peace within chaos. And I've like been really careful because I don't want anyone to steal that term from me yet. But I'm putting a patent on that shit. I'm coining it. Um Peace within chaos is like the peace part is the jazz, the melody, the chaos is the drums and the 808s and the, you know, the really like high like tempo hi-hats and all this shit. I love to meld those two things because growing up, like especially around the holidays, which Christmas is coming up, jazz was played a lot. Or when my parents and I would like, you know, on occasion go out somewhere, like I remember like my mom and dad would sometimes take me to the theater in Milwaukee, and they'd be playing jazz music in the lobby, and I remember always feeling so happy. I don't know. Like that's kind of part of the reason why I want to like jazz in the city is also very synonymous with me. So it's like when I'm out in Chicago and I hear like the dudes playing saxophone on the street, or like the cool like West Montgomery chords on the guitar and shit, I'm like, damn, like I feel so happy right now. So I try to make beats that make me feel that way. And then when I'm finding other producers, same kind of thing. I want to hear a sample. I want to hear something that makes me feel comfortable and have it make sense. Because I have like a whole folder on YouTube. That's kind of where I find my beats, because I feel like the more obscure you go, YouTube is kind of the easier route. I also use BeatStars too, but I feel like YouTube is the one where you can just find like just there are some videos that just have no title, and I'm like, bet, let me click on you because I have no idea what to expect. And sometimes you get the most glorious, beautiful shit ever. That's how I found like most of the beats on WOLFSBANE was just from obscurity of like, oh, let me click on this. I like the thumbnail. And like Imposter Syndrome, Colton, his production on that, I was like, bro, I need this beat. And I remember contacting him and like telling him I really fuck with it and I'd love to have it on the album. Sapture, who produced WOLFSBANE, same kind of thing. But I just heard that beat and I'm like, this Clan Casino type of style is like what I love. And what's great about WOLFSBANE is that, and I was kind of talking this to the homies who have listened to it all the way through, and they're kind of talking to me, and I'm like, yeah, it does feel like a mixtape almost. It does feel like not everything is super cohesive, but you'll hear the wolf howls, the two wolf howls, which is the part of the meaning behind the album, kind of have everything kind of connect. So the glue is loose, where it's like every track sounds different. Every track is not the same kind of style, but it does tell a story and it is cohesive in the way of like it's meant to be on there. There's nothing on there that's just like a throwaway track. You know what I mean? It's just like, damn, okay, this is the style we're going for. Like Soul Reapers too, Forehead, produced for Stepdad a bunch, and I bought his beat. I'm like, I had a Cooper, my homie Cooper, on it, and I'm like, I've never been on a beat like this. Let me try it. Same thing with I think it's Nikana Beats did Voldemort. And like I've never with Jameer, and I've never like really slid on beats like that. But I'm like, bro, this shit's fun. Like New Arc and This Way That Way, when people hear those and they're like, dude, you slid on a jerk beat, it's like, yeah, because I think that's just fire. But I didn't want to be like every other jerk artist. I just wanted to like do my little Greyish spin on it and just make it something again that's comfortable for me. That's cool to me. And yeah, they made it on the album, and they're one of some of my favorite tracks. Is just like I'm trying to push myself, especially with other producers. It's just like if I find a beat, I'm like I want to prove to myself that I can slide on anything and make it sound good. And you don't have to fuck with it, but I'm gonna sure as hell fuck with it. People who already know what I bring to the table, at least right now, can be like, oh wow, like I did not expect that. Like let me cue in a little bit, and I love that. So yeah. So,
like you said, it's not like it's not cohesive. Like they all have their place on the project, but the way you flow on some of them is definitely different. Like one of the most notable differences was on This Way That Way for me. It almost sounded like your cadence on it was like very similar to like London artists.
Yeah.
And it was it based on that at all, or was it
Yeah.
just kind of like the progression of like building it out?
I made that in the winter break of like 2023. And during that time, I like went back home and I just started listening to a shit ton of Central C. And I remember like, I don't know, just watching his music videos and feeling so like immersed in the shit of like UK drill rap. And I'm like, damn, like this dude can spit. I don't have the accent, but let me try on a beat like that. And Vitals produced This Way That Way and New Arc. And that's how I kind of found New Arc, was through fucking with This Way That Way so much. Or I might have found the beat for New Arc beforehand. I was just kind of going through his list of beats that he had available, and I'm like, yeah, this is the one. And so I wrote that song about I was with somebody at the time, and we had gone on a break, and that was like, people think it's a love song, but it's not. It's really about kind of like coming to terms with the fact that like that's why there's all these hopeful lyrics at the beginning, but as soon as like the foot on the dash, I put the metal dash, heavy left metal, like the the last like 30 seconds of the song, it's supposed to be like coming to terms with the fact that this person maybe isn't the right person for you, and you still can admire them from afar, but they're not the person that you kind of once knew. And I changed through that, they changed through that, but I wanted something moody to show that. And yeah, it just kind of like all came together as the beat was playing and I was writing to it, and it was all such raw emotion that like listening to Central C and like kind of getting that flow a little bit of like, okay, this is how like people normally spit on shit like this. But I wanted to again make it myself. I wasn't trying to bite nobody or do anything out of character for me. Um, but yeah, I was just like, I really fuck with his music. Let me write this song about something super important to me at the time, and yeah, then it came out as that. So shout out Central C for really like helping me figure out how the fuck to rap on a beat like that. And then on top of that, yeah, the lyrics followed. So yeah, just again, that beat also left enough space for me to get everything out lyrically. And I also like that beat on how kind of spacious and vibey it is, because
Mhm.
you can bop with it, you can have fun with it, but then if you really listen to the lyrics, that's how most of my music goes. I love watching people mosh pit to like when I'm talking about lyrics about wanting to kill myself for doing some fucked up shit, and like people are just going crazy, and it's like I love it. I love it. I love how like you can just kind of turn your brain off and just vibe out with it. But if you want to pull back and rein it in and relate to something or feel something, you can just take the lyrics away from the beat. And This Way That Way is prime example of just play that at the club, but then you might be looking over and your homie's crying at the club because they're playing that song. So I like it. I like it a lot.
While we're staying on this vein of breaking down some of the songs on the album, the most
Mhm.
impactful one for me by far was Imposter Syndrome. Like that, like
Thank
I
you.
probably listened to that more than anyone on the project, just because
Mhm.
I've struggled with imposter syndrome myself,
Mhm.
and I wanted to take this time to like for you to talk about your struggles with it, because I think
Yeah.
when you're going through it, it's tough to see. I guess it's tough to feel comforted, like knowing, like you think you're in it by yourself, I guess is what I'm trying to
Mhm.
say. You think that it's just you, like you'll never be good enough, like blah blah blah. But
Yeah.
what was your struggle with imposter syndrome, like in putting that all out on that track? Like what did that do for you? Like did it like spiritually and just your mental health?
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you, man. I really appreciate that. Those are the biggest compliments I ever get, is when people are like, yo, this specific track means so much to me. So I appreciate you, man. Thank you. And yeah, I wrote that kind of similar to like This Way That Way. There was a lot of emotions boiling up and I need to get it out on the pen, which is literally just my notes app on my phone. And yeah, I mean, I don't want to get too specific into that song on what specifically I'm talking about, because to me it's a lot more personal and it's a lot more there's a lot more context to those emotions. Um but I was dealing with a lot of like weird self-doubt and a lot of weird, like I felt disconnected from myself because my brain likes to do this thing where it's like telling me, I don't know, it's weird because you can have like, you know, this thought process of like, oh, I know who I am, and then your brain can throw you a curveball, and it's like maybe I don't know myself. And I was dealing with some shit where I was just like very, I had to rely on the trust of like, hey, like it's okay, like remember who you are, remember why you do this shit, remember who, like what you've been doing and who you've always been. And as I feel like as you get older and you know, you start to live in this world of rules and how things are supposed to be, and kind of how everybody else is moving, it's really easy to kind of get wrapped up in like wanting to fit in or wanting to be perfect. Because I solely believe that when you go out into the world, for better or for worse, people are only going to show you what they want you to see. And that's, I think that goes for every single person. I am, even through this interview, I'm showing you like a part of myself that I am like wanting you to recognize. But there's also a whole lot, it's like there's a whole other dark side of the moon that you're not seeing. And that's okay. Because like usually when I hop on these interviews or I go outside, like people are like, you make that kind of music? And I'm like, yeah. But I'm like really goofy and zany and stuff, but like not to get all like cliche of like, you know, there's a beast inside of me or something. it's it really is just like I don't like to bring people down. I get my energy from people, I get my energy from conversation. So, you know, this like stuff like this opportunity, stuff like going out to shows, I really try to be a more positive influence as much as I possibly can. And or just like a positive light, I guess, because so many people try to or a farm and be way more wrapped up in the idea of how do I look to other people instead of how I actually want to be. So um imposter syndrome also deals with that of just like, you know, taking a step back of like, okay, like I am going through shit right now. I can allow myself to feel this way and to be honest about this stuff that I'm feeling. And that's also what it kind of represents, is just being real with yourself and being honest. Because um, one of my favorite things about imposter syndrome and Sword Out the Stone, I hope that people pick up on this later down the line, but there's a point where in Sword Out the Stone, I say like, go ahead and lie to yourself. Man, I'll admit it, I was crying out for help. There's like a connection between Sword Out the Stone, those lyrics, and the lyrics in Imposter Syndrome, where I admit to myself that I'm lying to myself, and it's not in a negative way. It's in a way where it's like I'm lying to myself that I fucked up so bad, where like things are not that bad. I'm just, my brain is taking it to such a degree downward that I, like my brain is lying to me about who I am, and I have to recognize the positives and the good things, the good attributes that are so hard to like grip onto when you're kind of trudging through a snowstorm of just bad thought after bad thought of or you know, insecurities and all that shit. So yeah, imposter syndrome, like without going into like the specifics of the song, like because I want everybody to kind of have a takeaway of like what imposter syndrome means to you and to everyone, and have a respective experience with that. So I think it's such an important thing to recognize, especially as we start to grow up and become the people that we are, and you know, make mistakes or do great things, but not know how to accept those things, or to recognize like, oh, I did enough today. You know, that's a hard thing for me too. I have my mom's brain. I'm a workaholic at heart. So it's like, I'll go to sleep. And sometimes it's hard for me to go to bed because I never feel like I've done enough, or I've never felt like I deserve to sit down and be comfortable. Like there was a point, like as I got older, where I was so wrapped up in the work ethic that like, you know, sitting down and watching TV like I used to do as a kid, or playing video games, just doesn't hit the same anymore, because I feel like there's always so much more to be done. So yeah, imposter syndrome touches on all that stuff, man. And it's one of my favorite tracks because some of the realest shit I wrote in a while. So, and not to say that like everything else isn't real,
Right.
but like I should say, let me rephrase that. It's not some of the realest shit I've wrote in a while. It's some of the most like interpersonal stuff in a specific track that I've written. Because a lot of the shit that I talk about in my music is very like a collage. It's like a collage of different emotions and experiences that I all throw into one track. But that one focuses pinpoint on something where when I listen to that track, it's like I know exactly my thought process. I know exactly where I was. I know what the room looked like, the feeling I had in my chest when I was feeling these emotions. Like that track is just like this way, that way, where it's talking about a specific experience or set of experiences or sets of emotions that was within that time frame. So that's like a picture, you know what I mean? Where a lot of my other music is more of like a broad painting of just like some Picasso shit. This one's more of like a specific snapshot of something that happened, or something that not something that happened, but something that I was going through.
Yeah, I mean it's a super powerful song. If you guys haven't listened to it, go check out WOLFSBANE. First of all, like the whole project is phenomenal, but
Thank you.
Imposter Syndrome is definitely a sneaky track on there that's really
Yeah.
really good. So definitely check
Thank you.
that out. Still talking about the album here, but you
Mhm.
know, there's a good amount of features on the project with a lot of your friends, and I got to pop out to the album release party at Iridium, and you had all your boys there, and they were you know, dancing along with you, singing,
Mhm.
rapping along with you, which is awesome to see.
Mhm.
But I wanted to take this time to ask, it's like, how do you know when one of your songs needs a feature, verse and vice versa? Like, how do you know when, oh shit, I'm just gonna get in the bag on this one and write the whole thing and rap the whole thing?
For sure. I think it kind of just comes a little bit more naturally. Mike DFG, when I got to Chicago and watched him perform, he was at my first show. He was on the lineup of my first show, and shout out False Publication for having me. But basically what I'm trying to get into is the fact that like he inspired me to write more choruses in my music, because watching him perform was like, damn, like I love the idea of like people being able to like say, you don't gotta know the verse, but if you know the chorus, it's like, you know, people word for word. And I think that's so dope. So my songwriting and my arrangement in my songwriting has changed a lot through watching him, or Eddie Yuma does that a lot too, and Zay, where like a lot of these artists that I am friends with are writing choruses and doing some really cool like next level shit that like beforehand. There's a song called Run It, Run It, Run It that had come out like 2021, 2022, and it's just me just writing. Like it's just me just bar for bar going crazy. And I listen back to that song and I'm like, it's so good. I just wish I put a little like more space, because it's just like I try to think about even memorizing those lyrics, and it's just so back to back to back. I have a song called Onigashima, that's the same exact kind of thing where it's just I just wanted to write. I just wanted to rap and be like, yo, here's how lyrical, here's how crazy I can get with the flows and the switch ups and shit. Where now I've kind of taken a step forward into like, okay, let me write some shit that's a little bit more arranged, where it's like verse, pre-chorus, chorus, whatnot. Um, so back to what you were originally asking, is that a lot of these times I'll write verses, I'll be like, okay, can I come up with a chorus? And then because some songs don't need a chorus, like So Out the Stone is kind of more
Right.
just like a good rap song, it's just bar for
Yeah.
bar. Eddie killed that shit too, bro. I was like, yeah, we don't need a chorus for this. It's like the bald head bandit on the loose loop is just already
Yeah. Oh,
perfect to just throw out there.
stupid.
You know, and there are songs like Two Glock Shorty where it's like that was just more of like a, yeah, I know every single thing that I want to say in this song, and I know how I want to arrange it, and I kind of just did it myself. But there are also times where, yeah, I'll write verses or I'll write a chorus and I'm like, you know what? I feel like I did what I needed to do on this track. Let me see if I can open this up to somebody else to share their perspective or share. And sometimes people will hit me up, and I find it really um I take a lot of admiration for when people hit me up and they're like, okay, like I love this song. What would you like me to write about? And I appreciate that, because it's like, okay, they're trying to fit the concept, but a lot of the times I'll be like, dude, just write about like what you're feeling, write about like what you want to do. Like Cooper for Soul Reapers, he's like, yeah, so like what are you thinking of having me say? And I'm like, just write about like, I don't know, it's about like being with the homies and write about what you're going through mentally and all that shit. And like he came up with some of my favorite lyrics on the album just through that. So, you know, there's every track. We just released the WOLFSBANE, the Demon Fighters for WOLFSBANE, the feature photo shoot. Shout out Rafe Raza for directing that, and shout out Amy Schwartz for taking those photos. Those are both
They're tough.
family. Yeah, bro. Like they both killed that shit. And I was telling Rafe about my vision, and I'm like, and he killed that. Amy killed it too. Like they both are just fucking phenomenal artists and creatives on their own. They're so great. I could talk about them for years, but we did that feature photo shoot, and I'm like, it's so cool seeing everybody who had recorded separate times in separate rooms all come together. And like almost it was like Avengers Endgame. It's just like you see everybody coming through the portal, we're all pulling up at different times, and we all make it out to Chinatown, and we're like, oh damn, this is so sick. But every single one of those people, every artist on that album, producer, artist, engineer, shout out Johnny Bear for co-mixing and mastering that entire album. Everybody on there belongs on there, and you know, it wouldn't be the same without them. So honestly, like I've gotten a little bit more particular on who I have on each track, because if I hear a song and I don't think of this person, I'm not going to have them on it, because I've done that in the past where I've sent tracks of like, oh, I don't really know how you would fit yourself on it, but like just I'd send it to the open to him and be like, hey, like challenge yourself, go for it, you know, see what you can do. And I've always gotten like a beautiful, like either define my expectations or a beautiful segue into something different. Like for instance, like Cooper basically sang rap on Soul Reapers. I wasn't expecting him to do it. He usually does like a lot more like just more kind of like, in my opinion, like lucky style kind of rapping, where he just like he would throw on the auto tune and just did that. I'm like, that is so dope. I did not expect it, but I knew for a fact like he could slide on a beat like that. So I like was like, bro. Same thing with Jameer on Voldemort. I wasn't expecting him to sing on that and do that like that chorus. It just happened, and that's the beautiful thing about working with these amazing artists, is that you can trust them to just like, it's like alley-ooping the ball and they're going for the dunk. You know what I mean? I did my shit. I got it to the backboard. I just need you to fucking just grab the ball and just finish it off. And that, you know, that's how it goes with the features. Like Demon Fighter Anthem, I knew exactly that I needed Eddie, Zay, and Mike on it. I didn't know what arrangement it was going to be. Eddie sent me his verse first. I'm like, fuck yeah, we're going to have it. I'm going to have you come after. I think I was like, okay, I arranged it. And then that beat switches where I took the sample. I love the production on that one, not to toot my own horn, but I was so proud of that shit, because I'm like, I want everybody to have a different thing. So with Eddie, I kind of gave him a meld of the boom bap feel on that, but also some more like give him space and shit for the waviness of it at the beginning. And then it goes back into it with the boom bap, and then it transfers to Mike, where Mike's just a sample heavy. One of my favorite songs from Mike and Two Face. They have Two Face has a song with Mike on it called Rose Gold, and Mike's verse on that I can listen to just again religiously, is just one of my favorite things ever. And I was like, I want to have him on a track like that. So I did just the sample heavy shit, no beat really. I just wanted him to just fucking flow. And then Zay, who was the second person to record on it, like I was just like, Zay, you are the one who's dunking on this shit, bro. You gotta like fucking just finish it off. And I was so fucking amazed on how we literally did the beat cuts. I cut the sample and shit. I'm like, now's your time to just like fucking go in. And I did Mike and Zay. I engineered for both Mike and Zay to come through to my crib and record. And it was fucking awesome seeing them do that shit. Same thing. Jameer was also in person. Rios was in person. I went to Rios's studio at his crib, and that shit was fucking stellar because Rios co-produced Old Fashioned. See, I'm sorry, bro. I'm rambling. You get me
Dude, no,
talking
you're
about my
good.
homies doing shit.
Dude,
I
you're
could go
good,
on
man.
for hours. I'm not gatekeeping, no secrets or nothing. Like this shit is just like bar for bar. Shit was so cool. It was again like in like the heist movies where it's like they get the people together to like get the heist going.
Yeah.
That's how it felt, bro. I'm like, I need you to pull up and it's like, son of a bitch, I'm in. Like, that kind of shit like that, the Rick and Morty episode where
Yeah.
they did the like that was the feeling of like, bro, like we're getting the team together. This is actually happening. And then when we did that photo shoot, I'm like, here's why you guys were meant to be on it. Because everybody, even though they didn't know each other, just clicked. And that was beautiful. And that's when I knew I knew these people were meant to be on it. Because if they weren't, somebody would be in the back corner doing some bullshit. Like everybody was just like familyed up, like just melded together, clicked. We all had fun. We were all laughing. We were talking about shit. We were talking about the album. We were talking about like anime and all this nerdy shit. And I'm like, yeah, like this is my thing. This is what I love to do is create a community. So it's like the featured artists, like maybe not all of us know each other like that, but I know everybody. And so it's like I love putting two and two together and being like, yo, bro, like you would really fuck with this guy over here. And like, yeah, like, I like to be a matchmaker. So it's like same thing with the album too, like the songs. I like to matchmake with like one or two or how many homies on it, being like, yo, I see you on this track. Let me send this to you. And sometimes I've had a lot of people turn me down. I've had a lot of people be like, yo, like I fuck with it. Can't really side on it. I'm like, damn, that really sucks because I imagined you on it. So I've had to pivot sometimes, but like 80% of the time, it's usually just like, bro, let me get on this. I'm confident in it. I know what to do. I'm like, bet. So yes, I love doing that though. I love arranging projects. It's one of my favorite things to do. So
Really good description. Like, and it's also
thank
good.
you.
Like you got a good core of people around you. Like, I mean, you talked about Mike DFG a bit, and he's had a great amount of success this past year. Like, played at Lollapalooza. His last album doing fantastic. So, being able to share in that artistry and just make cool shit with your friends, like that's really what it's all about.
Well, a lot of the time too is also just like a lot of it is just like hanging out. Like I'll have people over. They're like, "Yo, like I want you to record on the song." Bet they'll slide, and then after they slide, we'll talk for 4 hours. Just homie talk, like how you and I are talking right now, or not even on some interview shit. Just like literally just chatting and like real, sometimes even real talking about like politics and all this other shit, or like just, and then we'll be like, oh yeah, we got the track to record on. Let's do that too. Like it's so cool. That the camaraderie there. That was something that I really like established in my brain with the WOLFSBANE shoe. It's like this is why I do this shit out here. This is why I haven't left Chicago. This is why I love this city so much, is the community and the people here. I'm coming from Wisconsin, like I had to build that with people who were into the same niches, who maybe didn't, exactly try to fit into a clique, or some of my closest friends from Wisconsin, my family, my brothers, my sisters, like they all, we found each other where like I feel like music is like the perfect icebreaker of like you see somebody perform or you hear their music and it's like, oh, I fuck with you. Like I need to talk to you, or I need to come up to you. And then you have a like I'm very, very lucky to have that. It's just like, yo, I fuck with your music. Let's hang out, or like, let's get on the track, or let me send you this shit. And sometimes it's more of like we'll see each other every now and again. And sometimes it's also like Zay, Eddie, Mike, Rios, Jameer, Cooper, Alexis, like we all hang out like either more often than not, or like really often. Like I'm going out to fucking Mitsuwa with Eddie soon, just to like go look at some like cool anime shit at the store that like that's what I love, bro. Sometimes we just hang out and we just do shit, and it's like it's fun to not only just have like friends that I can work with and create with, but also friends that I can just like sit down and fucking play Smash Bros with or some shit, you know? But that's so special. Where I feel like a lot of people go into this industry of like, oh, we're only talking about music or we're only talking about this shit. Like being able to have like inside jokes and shit with people that you started off as like creative peers and now they're just like your brothers is insane.
Good
Yeah,
feeling.
man.
It's
I
doing
love it.
doing something right.
I
We're,
take pride in it, bro. It's beautiful.
we've been kind of touching on some themes of the album as a whole. And I kind of want you for the people out there that haven't given WOLFSBANE a listen yet, what would
Mhm.
you describe WOLFSBANE as for them?
Great question. Honestly, I don't know. I think it's just like see for yourself, you know. Again, I kind of like I don't like to give too much insight to something that somebody hasn't experienced yet. Because one of my like least favorite things is when like sometimes there'll be like a show that comes out and I'll be talking about the show and I'm like, I haven't seen it, and they'll be like, oh yeah, it's fucking ass. Or like, oh, it's the greatest thing ever. And then it's like, okay, well then let me like then I kind of already have an idea of what to expect, or sometimes my opinion will be swayed. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I just like have too much like I put too much weight on people's opinions. Imposter syndrome is, you know, like, but you know, maybe it's an insecurity thing for me. But I think, you know, I trust a lot of people's opinions on shit. And if I had an artist come up to me and tell me, like, this is what you had to expect from my project, I'd kind of look for those things. But I also like being able to look for myself and kind of go in blind and come up with things, um come up with my own opinions. Because like also there are some like here's a great example, and this is what like this is what I've kind of learned is like Kendrick Lamar. I love Kendrick's music. If you showed me his shit like out of context, like if you put To Pimp a Butterfly in my hands and did not tell me the significant weight of the album, the you know, the praise and the admiration and what it did for hip hop, what it's done for music as a whole, like it's probably one of the best albums of all time in my opinion, and I think in a lot of people's opinions it is just solid, down to the subject matter, down to the production, down to the lyricism, down to everything, the arrangement, all that shit. I would love to see what it would be like for myself to go back and listen to it for the first time, but without the context of his career and his impact, and just see. I'd still think that it would be an amazing album, but like without the context, what does that mean? And that's what's kind of cool about being an emerging artist is that like a lot of people haven't heard of you before, so they can kind of get that take a lot better. And I think it's really because as for myself, I only make shit that I'm proud of. I only put out stuff that I'm proud of. And Wolfsbane is one of those albums that when I was making it, I make music that I want to listen to, because 90% of the time I'm listening to my demos. I'm listening to shit that's not out, because not on some egotistical shit. I just love what I make, and I love to be in that world. And it's such an outlet for me that I love to just safe space. So when people are kind of invited into that firsthand, like an introduction, I like to kind of have people just not expecting and be like, yo, I didn't know. Kind of like those jerk beats I was telling you about, like Newark or This Way That Way.
Mhm.
Um, those kind of like drill or jerk beat kind of things. Like people have heard shit from me and been like, oh, I didn't expect you to hop on that kind of beat. And I like that, because it's like, yeah, I don't want to tell you about what to expect or what my opinion is on the album, because I want you to hold that sentiment, because it can also make it more special. You know, that's so many important things in my life. Like One Piece, for example, that anime, I was getting into that shit before I was really a part of like that community who fucks with it so much. And like I think, you know, a lot of people have caught on to that anime where I was kind of right on the cusp, I feel like, of like it was niche enough to be my own thing at the time, but it was also popular enough for me to like to get into it. And maybe I was just in a bubble at that point, but I was able to go into it blind and it became so special to me. I'm like, damn, none of my homies really know about this thing. Let me put you onto it. Let me delve into this world. And that was such an escape for me. So with Gray is here, with Wolfsbane, with anything, it's just like you you reflect what you feel from it and tell me. I want you to tell me what you think about the album, not me tell you, because it could be the greatest thing you've ever heard in your life. It could be a cool album that you listen to from like an artist you semi fuck with, or it could be completely ass. Whatever you want to feel. Either way, I'm gonna take whatever I take from that and appreciate the fact that you went into it the way that you went into it. I just don't want to hold your hand through that process. I want you to experience it yourself. So the only thing that I do recommend, and this is with most of my projects or all my projects, is that it is meant to be listened to front to back. Like I think I'm all for like taking your favorite songs off the album, putting it into playlists and shit. You know, you're working out, you might not want to listen to Imposter Syndrome while you're hitting a crazy set bench press set. You know what I mean? But like might be want to listen to like Two Glass Shorty or New Arc or someone to hype you up more. That's fine. It's just when you first listen to the album, take the time, the 40 or 50 minutes that you can set aside if you can, and just listen to it. Immerse yourself, and then, you know, see how you feel. Because I think, you know, I've done shit where it's like, oh, I fucked with the album, but I've only listened to a few tracks. And it's like, let me not give a solid opinion on it if I haven't heard the full thing. Because sometimes A side and B side can be completely opposites from each other. I think that's super important to acknowledge. So yeah, I just want people to listen to it for themselves and see what they think. So yeah, if you're watching this interview, listen to Wolfsbane and send me a paragraph on what you think about it. I don't know. Some cool shit like that.
Well, there you go. Like if you're out there and you haven't gotten a chance to listen to this project, like go do it and inform your own opinion on it. It's a great project, so you're not going to be disappointed with the music. It's just what you take away what is what is intended to be your own, which is awesome. So
can I ask you this? Can I ask you the same question? If somebody was like I know you kind of just basically said it, but like in I guess more in depth of what you're kind of looking for from my answer, I want to know if I were like, yo, dude, so I heard this artist GREYISHERE or whatever the fuck his name is came out with an album, but like, what do you think about it?
Oh, jeez. Got flipped on my own interview. Got flipped on me. Nah, it's definitely like you said. I think it does need to be listened to top to bottom. Like you can't like just pick and choose songs off the album. Like it's not a story per se, but it's like the flow of the project is nice, and the stuff that you're discussing in the song, it flows really perfectly. I think for me, it's definitely more of a project that I would listen to like at night versus like day. Like if I wouldn't wake up in the morning and put that on, but I listened to it a lot like at night, like especially when I was driving. Like I think I was in Chicago a couple times, so like I was driving back to St. Charles from Chicago, and it's like an hour drive. I would like get the whole album in before I got home. Yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of different sounds on there, a lot of different the jazz beats are definitely so interesting, and it like did something to my brain, like it just tickled my brain the right way. So that those always stood out to me, and almost like sometimes I almost wished like you just had like an instrumental portion where it was just the raw instrumentals, just because some of them like Soul Reaper, I fucking loved that beat. Imposter Syndrome's beat was crazy. Two Glock Shorty's beat, like that's been out for a minute, but like the lyrics definitely get you more hyped for that one. Sort Out the Stone. I mean, there's a lot of really great production pieces on here, and I think that really elevates the whole project as well. So all in all, I really enjoyed the project. So congrats to you.
That, man. Thank you, bro. I appreciate that. Sorry to put you on the hot seat for a second.
Oh, hey, no.
I'm also like very open to the fact of like if there's ever tracks that people don't fuck with, like I'd like to hear that outside perspective. Because again, my when I wanted to make music for my homies to listen to, and to vibe out with in the car. Like, and this is outside of the message because I started making music for myself as well as my friends to have an indirect conversation. I've talked about that in other interviews of like, it kind of started out as like, you don't want to talk about this kind of thing. Let me make a song that we can make, like, we can have that conversation without you feeling uncomfortable. But I loved making songs and like kind of doing a like a listening party almost of like we'd go and my friend Luke had a Crown Victoria and I rap about that car a lot. I actually talk about it in one of the songs in I think it was a Wick or something like that in WOLFSBANE. But basically like we'd go in that car and that was at the playtest. And like sometimes my homies would like turn around the seat and be like, fuck, this is so cool. And other times it'd be crickets. Be like, yeah, I really fucked with that, except maybe the bass could get turned up, or I didn't really like how your vocals were mixed, or I think this sounds a little weird. And I like that though, because it gives me a perspective. Because at the end of the day, I'm still gonna make what I want to make, but because of those opinions, I got better and I like listened to that outside perspective. And I didn't know what mixing and mastering was when I first started making music. So like I had no de-esser on my vocals. So like in a lot like albums, like I love Straw Hat Tapes. It's one of my favorite albums I ever made. It's just hard to listen to in my car sometimes full volume because there's no de-esser. So those S's hit so loud. And it's because of my homies Luke and Emmett Mulrooney, who also makes music. He's a huge inspiration to me. They told me, they're like, yo, bro, like those S's kind of hit a little hard. Maybe tone it back in the mixing a little bit. I'm like, oh, okay. And they taught me how to do that shit. I'm like, bet, cool. And it's stuff like that that can help me progress as an artist. And I think it's okay to not like something. I think it's okay to be like, well, you know, let's let's be honest here. Let's be a little bit more,
Right.
let's be a little bit more critical. And I think there's a level where like it can be flat out disrespect, and that's something that I think myself and most people wouldn't appreciate. But there's also times where it's like, yeah, dude, I fuck with where you were going. I just think that there's more potential in fixing some things, or maybe you can go a different route. And I think that's completely fine. It's just honesty is the best policy, bro. As cliche as it is, and I appreciate you being honest with me about my project and talking to me because like, it's not an ego thing. I'm not expecting you to be like, yo, bro, 10 out of 10 album, like fucking crazy. Like if I was playing 10, I'd give this an 8 or a 9 or a 10. It's more of like, let me just get your genuine take on it because again, there's so much on that album to offer that
Yes.
I'm not expecting every person to be like, oh, this one I'm never gonna skip. You know, like maybe there's a song like that's a little hard to digest for you. So you might just kind of like we'll come back to that one. Or like when you're doing the full album, I listen through and you're like, oh, I like 5 songs, I'm gonna put it in a different playlist. Completely cool with me. I
Mhm.
just want that authentic like opinion. So you know, it gives me a perspective, gives me an idea. And then like also on the positive side, like when I played WOLFSBANE, the final track on the album at Reggie's for Mike's Love Letter to the West anniversary show. And when I played that, so many people were like, when's that song coming out? Where is that song? And I'm like, oh, this is the one that I'm gonna like hold closest to my heart because like in terms of like promoting it and pushing it because it had such a impact on people before it was even out. And I was so lucky to have the opportunity from Mike to showcase that shit. Because when he was putting me on the lineup, he's like, "Yo, dude, I want you to play your new album. I want you to play your new shit. I want you to take the time to highlight that in front of everybody." I'm like, "Thank you, bet." And that allowed me to get so much feedback of like, okay, yeah, like Sort Out the Stone. I performed at like Shadowfest 3 with Eddie, and I realized I'm like, oh, this one's a little bit slower. Let me try to tweak this bass a little bit more with Johnny. Let me try to do this a little bit different just to give a little bit more of a vibe so people can kind of jam with it more. Cause like through performing, I've also allowed myself to change up how I make music. So it's like that reception in a physical realm is articulated differently. So I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Happy to share.
Oh, yeah.
So we've talked a lot about the album. The last two questions that I like to ask people on here are more about the scene in general.
Yeah.
And I've had to kind of tailor it because I do interview a lot of artists from Central Illinois, but I want to ask you what your favorite part of the Chicago music scene is.
The community, bro. Legit. The community, the artistry, everything. Like, I think it's so cool to, because Chicago is like ultimately just a melting pot of a city. You have so many people like LA. I remember I went out to LA and I got a couple of my tattoos um from this artist. His name is Trap, or he goes by Trap. He's one of the nicest, most like down to earth people I've ever met. And before I went to LA, I had that idea of like, oh, everybody from LA is kind of jaded, a little bit more to themselves, kind of on that like cutthroat industry shit. Clothes off his back type of dude. Like one of the nicest human beings I've ever fucking met. If you're ever out in LA, hit up Trap Tats. He's the best. And he told me something. He's like, man, like people are cool, but you can tell who's from LA originally and who's not. Because sometimes people come to the city like Chicago or New York or LA and they're hungry and rightfully so. And it's like it's how you move and you can kind of tell who is doing it for themselves and solely themselves and who's doing it for themselves as well as everybody else around them in the community and the culture. So um I think Chicago is really great at kind of balancing those two things of like I've met so many different people who are on their like fuck it we ball shit, like I'm just gonna do me. And there are also people who are like let me give back to the city, let me put Chicago on a pedestal in my music so that when I make it one day, like that's gonna be what I'm known for, is bringing up the city and putting Chicago back on the map. Because we've had so many phenomenal artists come out of this city, and me still feeling like the new kid on the block in so many different ways, not growing up here. I still meet people who, you know, have lived here all their lives and gain their perspective is so different. Because I still have my rose tinted glasses on, and I don't think they'll ever come off with this city because I love it. So many people ask me, like, who are not from the city, what it's like to live in Chicago, and I think they expect me to give a different opinion, but I love it here. I think it's beautiful. I think also Chicago gets a really bad rap for a lot of different stupid bullshit, and I think it's just phenomenal. I mean, you definitely got to be strong and keep your head up, and depending on where you're at, like just be smart, be careful, but also like allow yourself to enjoy the beauty of it, because I think that there's so much beautiful things to offer, and with the art community here, the artist community is very like welcoming. There's more people than not who want to talk. There's more people than not who want to enjoy what you're putting out there and want to support. And although unfortunately I met some people who are a little bit more clicked up or a little bit more cold shoulder, I think it's more so due to the idea that you also have to remember that although these guys perform on stage, they're not the most social people in the world. And I've had to recognize that because being from Wisconsin, everybody's waving at you. Everybody's like, oh, hi, how's it going? Like, where not everybody out here is like that. And that's okay. It's adapt is the biggest thing. And yeah, I love Chicago for all the beauty that it holds in so many things. It's really a privilege. It's an opportunity. It's something that I feel very fortunate to live out here, to be a part of it. Because coming from Wisconsin too, like I have family and I have friends who supported me and all my homies that were making music, but it was much more of a niche thing. Where out here, it's like everybody and anyone is, trying to do something with their career in this community, and it's weird if you don't wear it on your sleeve. So I think confidence is also a big thing that I've gotten from this experience of being a part of this community, is like sometimes you just gotta tell people like, yeah, I do this shit. Like, yeah, I'm here, and not on some boastful shit, but just like you have to really be confident in yourself. And if you're not, and you're like, oh yeah, put out a track or two, it's okay. Like, you're not gonna get very far, bro. Like you gotta be confident. You gotta hold yourself up. You gotta show up and show out, you know, and lift people up too. Because I think Chicago holds a very little room for people who are just trying to be cutthroat all the time and just do it for the bag or just do it for the surface level bullshit. Like, if you really give a fuck about your artistry, you're gonna shine out here, and people recognize that. So, yeah, that's what I get from this.
Hell yeah, spoken like a true Chicagoan, man.
I'd like to think so. Yeah, I appreciate that.
So the last question that I always like to ask is, who are your current favorite artists or bands in the local scene? Just so that you can, yeah, so you could like put some people on. I discover a new artist all the time through this question, so I like to ask it to our guests.
Yeah, bro. Well, firstly, before I say anyone, I mean, like, there's countless people. It's like,
Oh yeah,
like when I go up for my first Grammy, bro, I'm never gonna know. I could stand up there for 30 minutes and talk about everybody who impacted me and lifted me up. So, or people that I admire. So, just to kind of pay respect where respect is due. First of all, um, going down the list of WOLFSBANE, all the features, Eddie Yuma, um, P Room. He's got a new project coming out on the way. He's teased it a little bit. Fucking phenomenal. I've heard the whole thing, and there's still stuff being in the works. Amazing. Super excited for him. He produces most of the beats that are on that album. Um, Talented producer, talented lyricist, amazing, amazing work. Isaiah Vo, he like as a lyricist and his delivery and his charisma on tracks, fucking amazing. His vision, both him and Eddie have a really solid vision of what they want to do. Just kind of like what I've been doing with building the world with WOLFSBANE. They have the same shit on the way, and I'm so proud of them. I'm so excited for them. I listened to Bruiser, which is the album Zay's working on, and I'm stoked for it. It's going to be fucking crazy. He hasn't released music since Yukio, which came out I think 21 or 22, and like, holy shit, it's gonna be a big punch through a wall, bro, in the best way possible. So he's gonna burst through the ceiling. Jameer, amazing lyricist, one of the best lyricists in my opinion, bro. Like, he is so fucking good. His flows, his delivery, his lyrics, phenomenal. All of his music I fuck with heavy, and the demos he showed me is just like, is gonna turn heads in a great way. Um, Rios, also so underrated, phenomenal lyricist, and he produces too. Just amazing artist all around, hands down, one of the most talented people I've ever met. AO Alexis, phenomenal artist. He also produces and raps fucking great. Really, really dope. His last album, super sick, and he's a great performer too. He's got so much charisma when he performs. Um, Hooper, also amazing lyricist, super, super great at what he does. He catches a vibe really well. I think that like his the way that he like arranges tracks and puts together shit. He also put out like 3 albums back to back, and I'm like, that is the dopest shit ever. And like, they're all, the cover art is all inspired by like the animated Batman series, I'm pretty sure. So it's like, yeah, there's like a cover art of like him standing on top of a building looking like Batman in like that iconic scene
that's
where
tough.
it's like the like the lightning flashes. It's so tough. Love his music. Shit. Damn. I want to make sure I don't miss anyone. Mike DFG. What haven't I said about Mike DFG that you know, he's so like, that's my brother. That's honestly my he's such an inspiration. All my homies on the album are inspirations to me. Um Fucking phenomenal lyricist. He's just, oh man, like, he's so good at also like gathering a project together, gathering people together. He's a community guy, and what he's doing with bigger than the city, and for me to be a part of that is so special. So yeah, man, I could go on and on about everything he's doing, what he has coming up, and just amazing creative, amazing person too. Like, he's got one of the most heartwarming personalities and souls I've ever met in somebody. So yeah, amazing musician, amazing artist. And then yeah, Johnny Bear, who was the co-mixer and engineer, or he co-mixed and mastered the entire album. He's also a producer, and he also records a little bit on some songs, and he is just fucking crazy, bro. He did a show where he DJ'd for his like birthday, or not his birthday. He did DJ stuff for his EP that came out. Fucking crazy, so dope. Like, I have learned so much from him in terms of the science of audio, bro. Amazing artist. Listen to ID when you can. It's one of the best like house electronic projects I've ever fucking heard. So talented. But yeah, man, honestly, like, I could go down the list and keep going. What Kari's doing, Bakery Mag, AO, or not AO Alexis. I already talked about him. Fucking phenomenal too. But AJ Scales, AJ Scales is also artist that I have a lot of trust in his vision. He's so talented. He also produces and he raps. He's so fucking good. God's Favorite Patient, which is coming out very soon. It'll probably be out by the time this interview is out. So dope. Amazing album. I'm also on that. I have the honor of being a feature on that album, and it's, oh my God, it's crazy. And then I got it, bro. Broken Record Club. You guys fucking killing it, bro. It's amazing to like be able to be a part of this community that you guys have built up. Jenny Scara, also fucking amazing person and artist. Like, man, there's so many people that just list off. I hope I didn't miss anyone. I'm probably like blanking on some names, but dude, everybody I've worked with out here, just like, if you see me post somebody, or if you see me in the same room as somebody and we have a picture together, like as of right now, like check them out. They're fucking great, amazing artists. And everybody I've worked with specifically, I love to give that platform to, because it's like, my goal is for you to listen to So Out the Zone, Yusuke, Demon for the Anthem, Mirkwood, Soul Reapers, Old Fashioned, and just be like, oh, I fuck with his verse heavy. Let me check out this artist. I want that to be like a segue off. I don't care if you even stop the album just to listen to them. Like, please check all the homies out, because like, there's a reason why I work with them, man. And they're real people too. Like, they're genuine people. So gotta shout out all them. Oh, and Rafe Raza as well. Just that's my brother, dynamic duo. Like he directed the WOLFSBANE album trailer. He directed the Demon Fighters for WOLFSBANE photo shoot. Just so great. Creative genius. Love that dude. That's my brother for real. So yeah, I could go down the list, man. It's crazy. Shout out everyone, bro. Shout out everyone I've ever like interacted with and talked to, man. DZ, Zella Red, all them, bro. I could go down the list. And bro, again, I know I already said his name like twice now, but AO Alexis hasn't came out with music in a long time. Or not in a long time, but like in a decent amount of time where it's like, I need him, if he watches this, I need you to release more music, bro. You are such a talented producer and lyricist. It was so dope having him on a project, because so many people know him. He's such a great person in the underground industry, that like he knows how to talk to people. He knows how to give you that full attention and appreciate your art. And that guy also, just having him on the album, AO Alexis, fucking phenomenal. Keep releasing music, bro. Please, I need that shit. That goes for all the homies. Drop that shit. I need that shit soon. Yeah, I'm rambling. I love all my homies, bro. I love all that shit. So,
well, hell yeah, you guys got a thick list of new artists to check out there. So give them all a listen, give them a try. Do the old WOLFSBANE test on them. Like, go into it. You're not going to know nothing about the project, but just go in and see it for yourself. There's a good probability that you'll find something that you like. They are very talented people. So, but you know, Grey, I just want to say thank you for taking the time today to sit down with me and kind of break down all this stuff and go a little deeper on some of the concepts of the album and songs. So I appreciate your time. I appreciate your ability to be vulnerable and talk about some of this stuff. So yeah, man, appreciate you coming on the Clubhouse and sharing.
Dude, thank you so much, bro. Especially thank you for having the patience to listen to me yap. I'm so passionate about this shit. So I know I've been rambling for the past like 2 hours, but I really appreciate you giving me the time. Um, Again, I love what you're doing for not only your artists, but as well as the music community. You guys are fucking phenomenal. And the fact that you do all this shit like with such a condensed team is inspiring, bro. So thank you for giving me the time. Thank you for giving me the shout out and the highlight and the opportunity to be on here. So I really appreciate you, man, for everything you do. It's always wonderful getting to talk to you and interact with you and create alongside with you. So thank you, man.
Yeah, no doubt, man. If you guys out there are looking to find Grey is Here, he's available on all platforms. WOLFSBANE is out. Give it a listen. You can follow him on Instagram at GREYISHERE444. That is GREY, and is here is spelled how you would think. You can follow him on TikTok at Grey is Here in all caps, and then he is also on YouTube at Grey is Here 444. There's a lot of cool visuals and stuff they got out there. The intro to the album is sweet. I know there's going to be some more stuff on the way, so just be ready for that. But
Hounds in the Snow on the way, Milwaukee to Chicago. You guys will know when you know that shit's coming out soon. We're keeping the WOLFSBANE era up. I'm sorry, I'm so excited. I couldn't keep my lips closed about that shit, bro. Hounds in the Snow on the way. Shout out Beeful Dose. When you know, you know. My bad. I'm not
hey, dude,
my bad, bro.
No worries.
So excited. So excited.
No worries. But just like that, that's our show. You've been hanging out with Clubhouse Chronicles, where the sounds are hot, the stories are hotter, and the vibes absolutely off the charts. Don't forget, hit up at Broken Record Music Club on socials for all the updates, news, and more on our label. But if you're looking to just hear stuff about the podcast, we have a new page. It's at Club Chron Pod. We got clips up there. We are going to be doing more next year. We're working on some updates for you guys, but hoping to expand our reach on covering the community a lot more. But you'll see podcast clips up there. If you've been on the radar of the pod for a second now, you know that we're backlogging all of the Mount Moon interviews. So check those out. Everything is on YouTube as well. Full video interviews at Broken Record Music Club. We just share a page there. Too many pages for one guy to manage there. But if you are out there watching on YouTube, thank you. Appreciate you. We only have a handful of you guys, but we're growing slowly, which is awesome. But if you're out there and you're not subscribed, please subscribe. We got some cool stuff coming next year. We've got a lot of rollouts coming. Some recaps of stuff that we did this year, so don't miss out. Tap in.
Go listen to that shit. Go watch that shit. Shout out Broken Record Music Club. Go watch that shit right now, bro. If you're not watching it, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? Go listen and watch that shit. It's fucking amazing. Yeah,
my guy. But until next time, keep it loud, keep it proud, and remember, Illinois is where the music magic happens. Peace.
Yeah.